Classic Hits 94.7 with Toto and Hold the Line, and Love Isn't Always on Time. But you know who is always on time? Keith Carr. In 22 years, have you ever been late for anything?
No.
And you would know better than anybody.
Morning radio guys have at least 2 alarms set.
Yeah.
At least 2.
Yeah.
Well, you did mornings for a while. No. To answer the question, not late, because if you're used to coming in, if the show starts at 5 and you're coming in at 3 or a little after, if you somehow sleep through half an hour, you're still not late. It's just later than you wanted to get here.
Well, the reason that we have, or that I have allowed these two to infringe on my time
what
on
a
the
great
radio,
idea this is. Cool.
Yeah,
nice.
this is awesome.
is because, isn't the studio nice when I'm in here?
It is.
You were waving your hand a second ago. What was that? You got fruit flies or something?
I don't know what's going on.
I was wondering if the board started on fire again.
Gesticulating, that's all. I'm just so excited to celebrate 22 years that you two have been together in La Crosse. And I know you guys tend to downplay it. Keith, I think, Tracy, how much notice did we get on this? 22 and a half hours.
Yep.
We had
at the end of our staff meeting yesterday. Oh, by the way, Sammy and I are together 22 years tomorrow. So it was like we had stabbed them with a knife or something.
I cannot repeat what Tracy said.
No, not to keep her licensed.
So I guess one of the questions everybody wants to know is, how did this happen 22 years ago?
Sammy was the PD.
So you were in charge. You were in charge of Z93.
Of Z93. I was just named program director, and we were
For people that don't know, that is the person who's
in charge of everything
that goes on the radio.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad to not be one of them anymore?
I'm so glad.
Yeah,
you have no idea.
Yep.
But anyway, I was up in the cities, and we kept in touch and so forth, and it just came together pretty nicely because just the timing was really good for everybody involved.
I have to tell you that several people on the staff here, including the then sales manager Jim Tim, and several other people would call me at home and tell me I needed to get Keith back. So that was my...
Those were collect calls, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
So a little bit of a backstory. Keith was here
yes.
For several years, I guess, and then you left for a year or two, a year and a half, came to your senses. And did you come back just to do the mornings with Sam? Was that established before you came back?
Oh,
yeah.
That was the whole idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we had a lovely meeting at a hockey game up in the cities talking about it.
Yeah. So in the old days, morning shows were one person. Mm-hmm. You'd have a news person, but it was generally one person, and not many either could afford it or they just didn't feel like it.
Right.
So,
but the thought of just Keith for 4 hours?
Ooh, no, that happened. That happened in the mid '80s for a couple of reasons, whatever that was.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was more of a product of people trying to save money, because the most expensive thing in a business is your labor cost. So instead of 2 salaries, let's just have 1 and try to half-ass it. So.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But Sammy would produce.
We're still trying to. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
Sammy would produce. She would work either overnights or nights or whatever she was working, and she would produce stuff for the morning show.
Yeah.
So we really worked together. We just worked
stuff
together physically.
Okay, that was going to be my next question. You two knew each other before you worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of
5
fact,
years
about the second, it wasn't, I hadn't worked here very long when I was subbing for middays, and at the time he was doing afternoons, and he scared me to death in those days.
So
everybody was
saying
afraid.
That in past tense, but really it's still present.
Everybody was afraid of him because he's actually very contained and very organized and really, really clever, very witty. And so he would come in like an hour before he went on the air and rearrange everything in the studio. And then about the third day, I managed to say, "Can you not do that?
Can you not do that?"
And we have all developed our little ways of doing things that we know will drive Keith crazy, and we do it on purpose. Like when I use the station vehicle, I always hang the key up in a different place because I know that Keith will need to have it at this eye level.
We were ready to blame you this past Sunday for Super Bowl party. We're going to Caledonia. The Jeep is here, but where's the key?
You two, we're gonna. If you want to see an extended version of this interview with Keith and Sam, we're gonna go to a little bit more comfortable location and sit down and have a little bit more of a chat. We're going to bring in a man who was, I guess, instrumental in bringing the two of you together. And when I asked him about this, he said, I was against it. And I promise
we're back to the money thing.
Yeah, and I promise some questions that will make Keith and Sam both squirm. So we're going to do that, and we'll have the video up on our Facebook page very soon. But congratulations.
Thanks for
22 years
Thank you.
of anything is awesome.
Aww.
That was like a Sam. We're done talking. Oh, I think I'll touch the button now.